Good afternoon. Thank you for sticking around for our last presentation of the day. I'm going to pass you over to Tom Levesque, who is VP of Sales for VimBiz. Over to you, Tom.
Well, thank you, Tom. We have the same name, so it's difficult for me to forget your name. Well, welcome everybody. As Tom said, I'm Tom Levesque, VP of Sales at VimSoft. So I'm very happy to be here with you guys today and introduce you to VimBiz. It's going to be a very brief introduction, but if I do my job well, hopefully you'll be intrigued enough to come visit us at our stand or contact us after IBC and ask us some questions. So what do we do at VimBiz? Well, to explain that, I'd like to talk about our industry a little bit. The industry we work in produces content every day. It's a very complex industry. It runs 24/7. The resources required to produce that content are highly technical and quite diverse. And if you compare that to your day-to-day personal life, we live in a world where we have access to information pretty much instantly, don't we? Heck, we buy devices that we can speak to and ask questions and it answers us right back. Can my dog eat this carrot? You get my point. So why is it that every organization we speak to, especially at trade shows like IBC, don't have yet an adequate system helping them manage their operation? Countless hours are lost every day for lack of collaboration, lack of communication, and quite frankly, lack of a centralized repository of information. So that's what VimBiz is in a nutshell. We help our customers focus on what they do best, and that is to produce content. We help customers tie together all the different departments so that they can collaborate together, communicate together. We are their central repository of information. VimBiz is used in the Americas and in several European countries. You can see on this slide that we have a pretty strong presence in European countries, starting with Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, and Norway. All these public broadcasters actually selected VimBiz through a public tender as the best scheduling and Timecard solution on the market. More recently, VimBiz has also been chosen to replace Schedule, who I'm sure you've heard of before. Some of our customers also select VimBiz through a public tender, but to do different things in the solution suite. That is, managing the logistics of their equipment. It's the case with our TBF in Belgium. We help them manage a very complex rental operation in Belgium where they constantly transfer equipment from one center to the other to meet the need of their production. It's also the case in Dome Productions in our home country, where they manage all their OB trucks and inventory of assets, and they also schedule their internal employees and freelancers in VimBiz. In fact, most of the Dome Productions operation is managed in VimBiz today. And let's not forget the largest producer of telenovelas in the world, Globo in Brazil. They've been using VimBiz for well over 8 years now to manage the checkouts and the check-ins of equipment throughout the country. At a very high level, VimBiz provides solutions for various departments. On the engineering side of the operation, we help our customers manage everything that touches their equipment assets, from acquisition to maintenance and repair to end of life. It's the complete asset management solution. Many of our customers also have an internal rental operation where they manage the checkout and check-in of these equipment assets. And of course, the scheduling. From the beginning of sharing ideas about the content you want to create, to planning all the resources you think you'll need to produce that content, to scheduling those resources to execute on what was planned, down to tracking precisely how much it costs your operation and tracking the actual time worked by all of the employees involved. We offer the end-to-end solution. Conveniently, we also allow our users to access their data on a web platform, a mobile platform, and a rich platform. The mobile application is typically used by end users to view their schedules, submit their time cards, submit their request like a vacation request. It can also be used on scanners to scan equipment to do inventory control or checkouts or check-ins. The web and the rich applications are pretty much identical. In fact, just like Microsoft, think of you working in Outlook today if you use the new Outlook, or in Microsoft Teams. You're really using a web application inside a rich client, aren't you? Well, next year, VimBiz will start acting pretty much the same way as those Microsoft products. I want to go through a typical start to end scenario in VimBiz. Only a few minutes. I can't go in great detail, but again, if I do a good enough job, you'll be intrigued to talk to me after, right? How do you plan your resources today? We speak to many organizations, as I said earlier, and it's unbelievable the amount of people that yet do it, using Excel spreadsheets, emails, phone conversations, even worse, hall conversations. There's no process in place to plan complex resources that are needed to produce content. We offer a module that we call the Business Requirements module. It's a planning tool allowing technical producers, project managers, TOMs. My name is Tom, but I'm not a technical operation manager, but technical operation managers use that tool too, to list all the resources that they think they'll need for their production. It's a collaboration tool because many people can work together to ensure that the list is complete. It's a budgeting tool because as you list the requirements that you think you'll need for your production in real time, you have an idea of how much it's going to cost you. Many of our customers also use it as a quoting tool because they create a quote out of it, send it directly to their customer. And last but not least, it's a request tool. So me submitting this business requirement, when it gets authorized, it automates the creation of schedule events that are to be allocated by my schedulers on actual resources. The business requirements module also offers quite advanced planning tools, like me ensuring that my camera operators don't all take their lunch break at the same time, or me requesting an assistant producer that has some special linguistic skills, or me creating a continuity rule that ensures that when a producer is assigned to the role of producer that I'm requesting, it's the same producer on every day of the business requirements that I just submitted. When I'm done building my business requirements and submitting them, it's now the work of my schedulers to allocate these requirements to actual resources. So we've developed tools in VimBiz that show the requirements on top, the resources at the bottom, and basically it's a drag and drop operation to allocate the requirements to actual resources. A tool like this one provides filters on the left-hand side, ensuring that you only see internal employees that are available, or you want to focus specifically on a production or on a role or camera operators in my example, and you only want to see requirements that are tied to that role and people that can fulfill that skill. Then I select, I refresh my screen, VimBiz gives me the list of resources qualified to satisfy that requirement, drag and drop, and voila. Same thing happens with technical facilities, my TV studios, my edit suites, my OB trucks. There are several different people in the organization that can send in their requirements, and we allow very large organizations to segment their different departments. Whether you have a sports department, news department, or what have you, you will only see the requirements that pertain to your day-to-day activities. And you will also only see the resources that you are responsible to schedule. Select the events, allocate by dragging and dropping, and now you have satisfied that requirement as well. We believe that the next generation in scheduling is automation. If you do a good enough job at establishing your requirements, you can be as detailed as you want, as we just saw. Every resource in VimBiz have a profile, employee, we know exactly the type of job each employee can perform. Technical facilities, we know what they're qualified to support in terms of type of production. And then we can feed the engine that we've named ScheduleBot with rules that he or she needs to respect. I don't know if it's a he or a she yet, but for example, I need to respect X amount of hours between shifts. I cannot allocate more than 10 consecutive working days to the same employee. I must provide at least 8 days off a month. These are just simple examples of rules that can be fed to the engine, and on a click of a button, all the allocations are automated for you. Throughout the entire process, the user's planning the resources that are needed for a production, and the schedulers can see what they're doing through analysis tools and check marks like we see here. I can clearly see that some of my facilities and roles have already been fulfilled, but what about my equipment? Well, VimBiz also provides an equipment logistics solution. All your trucks, all your studios can be inventoried with bookable equipment, so that we compare what was required with what's available in the facilities that you've scheduled, and we tell the planners, hey, you have 3 cameras that are available in the OB mobile that was scheduled to satisfy the requirement. So I click a button, I book these assets, and the remainder of the equipment that weren't in my facilities are basically sent to my equipment logistics team that will ensure that they create a rental booking out of it, and they check that equipment out in time for the production. And of course, when the equipment comes back, we check it back in. The entire rental workflow is also supported by VimBiz. In my scenario, the rental booking comes from a request. The rental booking contains all the items that I must prepare. Optionally, I've been in rental houses where they literally have cages that they lock down, because they prepare a very large list of equipment, lock it up, and when the person responsible to come and pick that equipment arrives, unlock the cage, leaves with the gear, and we're done. We check everything out using barcode scanning technologies and RFID tags for some of our customers anyway. During the use of the equipment, what if something happens? By mistake, I drop a camera on the floor. Well, I take my phone, I take a picture, and I submit a service request. So I inform my technical team while I'm still at the production site that something wrong happened with a camera. I send him pictures, or her. Looking at the picture, my technical team knows maybe I need this part, that part to repair the equipment. So when the camera arrives, I'm ready. Time is money. Being more efficient makes you save time. And the service module is a perfect solution to improve collaboration, improve communication between not only your technical teams, but this workflow can also be used as a task assignment tool for, let's say, a post-production department. Let's go back to our screenshots of the software. As we plan our resources, especially our employees, we get ready to make their schedules public, because until we publish a schedule, the employee cannot see their schedule. The act of publishing makes that schedule public. Before I do so, a screen like this one, sorry, it looks a little bit like a Christmas tree, but it warns the schedulers of very important warnings that I may have broken working conditions, employee contract rules before I schedule, to avoid hefty penalties of maybe overtime that I need to pay because I've scheduled too many hours on a day. I can even, before publishing, validate the schedule and block the publishing action if I so desire to do so. It's fully configurable. For example, if a meal doesn't respect the union rules, the duration of it anyway, it's fully configurable. Me publishing that schedule will send an email notification to the employee. They'll have access to it on their smartphone device or web client. We integrate with Outlook as well. Basically, we have many different ways of communicating that schedule to the employee. Last but not least, VimBiz was designed to track actual times. All these public broadcasters that we saw earlier, they all have extremely complex union rules that they have to respect. We have created a tool, well, we have a Timecard system, but we have created a tool that has the ability to automatically calculate the claim codes that the payroll system needs to accurately pay the employee. So overtime claims, premium claims, time in year claims, all based on employee contracts and working conditions within your organization. Times are entered using our web interface or our mobile application, and of course, before it hits the payroll system, a time card must be authorized. So I'd like to thank everybody for their attention. Very much appreciate it. And as always, we're not far. We're just around the corner. So come say hi. Thank you.